This is the mochafootball.com.
The mochafootball.com.
This is the mochafootball.com. Okay, everybody. Damon, you know what time it is, man. It's game week. We've been waiting for this for over 6 months now. I'm just excited, man. I'm beyond excited. It's finally here. You know, all the speculation, all the hype, all the talk. It's pretty much done now. It's gonna be real football time. This is gonna be kind of like a combo podcast here. We got, we're previewing the 4A North and South, and now we're also gonna be talking about the game of the week, and we're gonna do our pick'em, and we're gonna go from there. Let's talk about 4A North and South. We're combining the two this week. Obviously, these two divisions have two big-time powerhouses in it. In Northwest and QO, you have a bunch of teams like Clarksburg and Richmond Montgomery and Gaithersburg that are looking to kind of knock them off. Let's start off by talking about Northwest and what they have going on right now. Obviously, they're losing a legend in Mark Pierce, somebody that took them to two straight state championship games, another playoff appearance, another semifinal appearance before leaving to graduation. Obviously, but they, the cupboards are not bare over there. Khalil Owens, Juwan Ferrari, one of my favorites, Alfonso Foray is still back. Obviously they're going to be, bringing in a new quarterback, but, having a guy like Cole Tripko is going to help them out. It's going to help out the causes a lot. Talk about Northwest and just their overall outlook on the season. And do you think that they could absorb possibly the loss of a Mark Pierce and continue to be the title contender that they were the last 2 to 3 seasons?
Absolutely. Coach Newb and his staff, at this point, obviously it's a legit program. Everybody's been there long enough. They know the expectations that comes with being playing at Northwest. So even though they're losing their all-county, all-state leader in Mark Pierce, they still have several pieces in place that can continue the success. You already mentioned some of the players like Cole Tripko and Khalil Owens. Another player to look out for is the up-and-coming player, DeAndre Jules. They also received a nice transfer from Wooten, 6'3" wide receiver that'll fit in nicely with the offense that Northwest runs. And looking overall at Northwest's schedule, it's a favorable schedule for them in the fact that, similar to previous years, if they drop 2 or 3 games, they're still in a position to make the playoffs and go on a run, which Northwest has done the past 3 years. So unlike some of the other teams, like we mentioned last week, where they have to basically run the table, so 9-1, Northwest could easily drop 3 games and still comfortably make the playoffs, just in the region that they're in. And just looking at their schedule, it's not a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just the way it works out. If they happen to lose several games, they should be sitting pretty. They won the division last year. I don't expect that to change this year. I'm pretty confident on what the Jaguars can do in 2016. They
had some losses, but I think that the talent that they have over there cannot be overlooked, and they're going to be a very explosive team. The other team that they've kind of plagued a little bit, especially in the playoffs, the last few years, is QO. And when you look at this program is known for winning. It's known for excellence. It's known for being the biggest, baddest on the field every single year. But for the last few years in the playoffs, Northwest has had their number a little bit. QO this year is returning a monster squad. A few Division I athletes on there. That's not anything new for the program. They have a kid in Doc Bonner that, and I think you agree with me, Damon, that this kid, by the time he's a senior, we could be talking about an all-time great. A kid that will be discussed amongst some of the best to ever do it if he lives up to his potential. And I think he has a lot of tools around him that can help him. A great offensive line. Big Michael Joseph, he's coming back. Joe Hodges, he's going to be coming back as well. I think the Quince Orchard offensive line is going to be one of the best in the county, if not the state, led by my man, Coach Oswald, of course. On defense, Noah Pegley is going to be a monster. We're going to see, defensive backfield is going to look like, obviously Fofi Bazzi and those guys are going to hold it down over there. And I'm going to let you talk about, I know you want to talk about him. There's a little surprise in the backfield that a lot of people don't know about. And we're not talking about Marvin Biender either. I'm going to let you talk about him. Talk about QO, your squad, and just their overall outlook this year and what you're expecting from them. And can they finally get over that mental hump that has been kind of created by Northwest?
Yeah, you mentioned it at the top. For the past 3 years in a row, the Northwest Jaguars have ended Quince Orchard's season. So basically what that means is matter of fact, I'm pretty sure every kid on the Quince Orchard roster does not know what it's like to beat Northwest in the playoffs.
That's kind of crazy.
I mean, when they play Northwest in the playoffs, that's been at the end of the season for them for their entire high school career.
Wow.
So, with that being said, every kid on that roster definitely has a mission. Now, don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. That's weeks, months away, assuming everything plays out like we expect it to.
Right.
You already mentioned the big guns for Quince Orchard. Fofi Bazzi, the Maryland commit. Marvin Biender, the Temple commit. Kendall Doc Bonner recently picked up an offer from Towson. But besides those three players, they have a solid squad in their supporting cast. Michael Joseph recently picked up an offer from Morgan State. You got Noah Pegley at middle linebacker, who will continue the tradition of solid, excellent middle linebackers for the Cougars.
Right.
Now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself because this is going to be my pick for put some respect on his name, but we can get it out the way right now. Keep an eye on Titus Johnson. He's going to be he got some playing time last year when QO put running clocks on several teams, so I got a chance to see him live several times, and the kid is explosive and fast. Do not be fooled by his size. 5'7", but he is a fire plug. I saw him up close at the Good Counsel scrimmage. It looks like he's put on at least 15 pounds of muscle. He's got to be up around the 160, 165 range and not an ounce of fat on him. And I'm telling you guys, you heard it here first. Titus Johnson will turn heads this season, sooner rather than later. Obviously, Marvin Biender is one of the most exciting players in the county to watch.
Right.
But when he is on the sideline, or they have him lined up in another position, or perhaps they might even share the backfield, Titus Johnson will earn your respect. There's no other way to put it. I'm really excited to see him and to see what he can do this year. Like, he might be one of my favorite players on the Cougars roster right now. A couple other players to mention really quickly. There's Tyler Terry, linebacker, wide receiver, transfer from Gaithersburg. And there's even a couple of unsung guys that you may not know their name, but you will at the end of the season. Like Jake Malikoff is a fullback, a dying position in the sport of football. So it's good to see somebody carrying on that tradition.
Right.
With Doc Bonner entering his junior year, I expect Quince Orchard to expand the playbook a little bit in the passing game, and obviously players like Basie and Binder are going to be targets for him, but another target to look out for is Kyle Moats. I like to call him like the Wes Welker of the Quince Orchard Cougars.
Okay.
The kid can ball, so keep an eye out on him. And all that being said, I mean, Quince Orchard does what they do. They're one of the most consistent teams in the state of Maryland. I mean, they've averaged 9+ wins for the past decade. That's nothing. That's nothing to turn your nose up at. The only thing that's missing is that hardware.
Right.
There's been a couple of years where the expectations was the state championship and they fell short.
Right.
But that doesn't detract from the consistency that they played with. I mean, you can just look at the numbers. I mean, other teams may have more state titles, but they've also had some down years in between those runs.
Right.
Whereas Quince Orchard has literally stayed consistent over the past 10 years. So
right.
That is what it is. So, and I don't expect that to change this year. I'm willing to bet a good chunk of money that they're going to win for a MoCo South. I think their biggest in-division competition will come from Whitman. But that's about it in terms of MoCo South and teams that may be able to compete with Quince Orchard. Quince Orchard's biggest tests will come out of division. Northwest, Damascus, Paint Branch. Those are the big ones on their schedule. So obviously I'm extremely excited. Can't wait till Friday night. Leaving work early. So I can get there and get my spot and watch the Cougars take on the defending state champion Damascus swarming Hornets. Right. Well, we're gonna get into that game later on. I know you're gonna want to get into it. And Damon, hey, look, man, there's a very large Damascus contingent on the board. I love Damascus.
Okay. I understand that, but I'm just letting you know they kind of gang up on people. So just be careful. I'm not saying you by yourself. You got some people. You got some loyal QO people on there. But Damascus kind of rolls in packs now. Like,
I'm in a no-win situation. No matter what I say, I'm going to receive emails and tweets and text messages from somebody. So it is what it is.
Okay. I'm just letting you know. But anyways, going forward, we have in the 4A North. Damon, I think that we have 3 teams, definitely 3 teams, maybe even 4, that on that level where they're looking to take that next step, to possibly, shock the world and upset some people and really turn some heads. When you look at RM, Gaithersburg, and Clarksburg, and I'm going to actually throw Wooten in there too. These are 4 teams that had relative success. Last year they did okay, but Clarksburg, obviously, the year before last, was one of the top teams in the county. They've been consistently that for a while. Gaithersburg obviously has the history behind them, but the last few years has been kind of shaky. RM, I mean, let's be honest, they were the surprise of the whole county last year with the record that they had and going to the playoffs and everything like that. And then Wooten, I think that they were a little bit better than their record. I think that they have some pieces that could possibly lead to them, turning some heads and upsetting some people. Obviously, a lot of talk has been around their new starting quarterback, Grant Saylor. So we're going to see what he can do. Which one of these teams outside of the, the two that we talked about, which is Quince Orchard and Northwest, outside of those two, which one of these teams, Wooten, RM, Gaithersburg, Clarksburg, do you see this season possibly emerging as that surprise team that can challenge one of the two teams that we just got done talking about?
So in 4A North, Northwest Division, at this time, I think the choice is obvious. It's Richard Montgomery. Even though it's going to be pretty difficult for them to improve on their record last year, I think statistically on the field, they definitely can improve.
Right.
They definitely have some athletes coming back. You got Ty Hebron. He had 795 yards and 10 touchdowns last year.
Right.
And he's also an excellent player on defense. He snatched down 3 interceptions. And then their quarterback, Spencer Silverstein, this will be his second year running the offense
for
Richard Montgomery. He had over 1,100 yards and 16 touchdowns last year. So Richard Montgomery's offense will be perfectly fine. They'll keep the ball moving up and down the field. The only question for me personally for the Rockets is their defense and how they're going to hold up through the course of the season. Richard Montgomery's schedule is favorable, extremely favorable. Northwest will be their biggest test, and outside of that, Clarksburg will definitely give them a run. Gaithersburg, I'm kind of on the fence with that game, especially with it being so late in the year. I'm not sure what the Gaithersburg squad is going to look like at that point during the season, but as of right now, it's a 2-team race for a Moco North. It's Northwest and Richard Montgomery. And for a Moco South, as I mentioned before, the only team I see challenging Quince Orchard is Whitman. Clayton, quarterback for Whitman, is one of my favorite players in the county. The kid is an absolute baller. All I can say is just look up his film. I dare you not to come away impressed. He is an absolute baller.
Yeah, and I agree. Matt Clayton is a kid that we're gonna have to be talking about a lot. If he was on another team, he would probably be up for Play of the Year, All Met. So we're gonna get into this week 1, the game of the week. We all know what it is. We've been talking about it for a while. We're talking about the Damascus Swarming Hornets heading over to the Cougar Dome to face the Quince Orchard Cougars, and this is what we live for, Damon. This is why we do this podcast, honestly, right? This kind of environment, it's going to be just insane in the Cougar Dome. I can't wait to get there. Obviously, I'm going to be there. Damon's probably going to sleep underneath the bleachers for the next 3 days or whatever until it comes up. This is why we do this, right? These kind of games. And when you look at this matchup, you're looking at a team, and for the first time, Damon, in a while, I can honestly say this: QO is a team that is I don't want to call them an underdog, because they're not necessarily, because QO's kind of like any team LeBron's on. Like any team LeBron James is on is never going to be like an underdog team, right? But this team, it got that dog hunger about them, right? Where I think some of the previous teams didn't have that. I think that there's a chip on their shoulder where a lot of other teams just didn't have that. I think some of the previous QO teams kind of felt like, putting on that jersey was a birthright, and going out there and just winning 10 games and going to the championship was just something that was owed to them. And I think that this team right here is different. I really see, and when I look at how they trained, when I look at how the coaches, I love what Coach Kelly's doing. I think Coach Kelly is one of those guys that he's going to coach you hard, but he's also going to be there for his players. I think that the discipline and the overall tone that he set, the toughness that he's instilled in the program, where everybody else is going to, pass happy, and there's nothing wrong with that. And clearly people are trying to open up their offenses and things like that. You just mentioned it. Coach Kelly still got the fullback in full rotation over there. That's still a position of strength for the Quince Cougars. And that to me just kind of speaks to what Coach Kelly's all about. Don't get me wrong, they're going to do different things on offense. They're going to go spread. They're going to do, some split back stuff. But, at the heart of it, QO is a team that is a tough-nosed, gritty team. And I think that this team right here, out of all of them, is going to resemble what he has going on. I think that the key to the game is how the Quince Orchard defense, especially the front seven who lost a few players, can defend, what Damascus is going to be throwing at them. Can they comprehend in real time? Because Damascus has a lot of sets, right? They come at you in so many different ways that it can sometimes make your head spin. Last year, you kind of knew what it was. You knew that Jake Funk was going to line up and he's going to pound it right at you. This year, I think it's going to be a lot different for Damascus. I think Damascus is going to move around a lot. I think Marcus Vincent is going to be in so many different places. So one of the main things I'm going to be looking at is having a young front seven replacing some guys in the linebacking core. Are they going to be in tune with one another, making sure everybody's lined up right so that there's no busted assignments and things like that? Because we all know that Damascus sometimes likes to run the misdirection plays, the plays that kind of get you off kilter a little bit. But I'm also looking to see how Damascus is going to stack up against the Quince Orchard offensive line. I think Quince Orchard has a great public school offensive line. I think that they are going to be able to run the ball versus just about anybody this season. It's going to be interesting to see. You talked about Titus. He's going to be a kid that's going to be featured. It's going to be interesting to see if Damascus is going to be able to match up with a very experienced, very good Quince Orchard offensive line. Now they have Mikey Bradshaw coming back, the last of the Bradshaw brothers that are playing for Damascus. He's obviously going to be a real problem for Quince Orchard. They have a number of Damascus has a number of good linebackers coming back. It's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic is going to play out. And then now finally, I think last year really, when you're talking about Doc Bonner, I think that Doc kind of got baptized into Montgomery County football last year when he faced Damascus. He was a little bit of a deer in the headlights. Now, he still did some really good things and really showed what he could do, especially later on as the game progressed. But I think that he kind of wants to show his progression from the week one last year to week one this year. And I think that it's going to be important for him to be that guy for Quince Orchard. The game plan for Damascus is going to try to take away and run as much as they can. So, and they believe in Marcus Vincent's ability to lock down anybody, right? So I believe there's going to be opportunities for Doc to do what he can do. Is he going to take advantage of them? Last year, he went to the dink and dunk game a lot. He was a guy that didn't really push the ball down the field. I think this game he's going to have to push the ball down the field to win the game. So with all that being said, what do you think about this game, Damon? I know you're excited about it. I know you want to see it. What are some of the key matchups and key things that you're going to be looking at?
Like you mentioned, this is the premier game in Montgomery County, and it has been for the past few years. The overall matchup is 7-6 in Damascus' favor. That just shows you how even these teams have been over the course of history. Damascus year wasn't really much of a game, but historically, the matchup between these two it's been a close game, at least in recent history.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of matchups, for me, it comes down to the QO defense and how they try to contain Marcus Vincent. I say contain because I don't think stopping him is an actual possibility.
Right.
But if they can limit his production, the Cougars will be in a good spot. With the addition of the Urbana transfer to Damascus, Elijah Atkins, that just adds another weapon that Quince is going to have to worry about in the backfield. And as you mentioned, with the offense they run, you really have to pay attention and know your assignment. They move players around a lot, even though it may be the same personnel on the field. Very rarely will they be in the same position multiple plays in a row. So you really have to know your assignment and know what your lane is. If you get out of position, it's just a nightmare.
Right.
You can ask any team that played Damascus last year. It really is a tough offense to game plan for. I mean, you can game plan for it, but once you get out on the field, Damascus's offensive line and their backfield is just so good. They know what they're doing. A lot of these kids have been running this offense since they were 7 years old. It's like second nature to them.
Right.
So if you're on defense, you really have to be focused. You cannot be distracted. You can't be cheating one way or another. You need to stay with your assignment and do what you've been practicing to do for the past couple of weeks.
Right.
So it's basically going to come down to the Damascus offensive backfield versus the Quince defensive line and linebackers. I expect Noah Pagley to have his hands full this Friday.
Right.
He's going to have to make sure everybody's in position and stays in position. I'm not sure what his assignment's going to be, but I got a feeling he's gonna be shadowing Vincent as much as he can, especially if he lines up in the backfield. If they spread Vincent out wide, I'm not sure what the game plan is, but I wouldn't be shocked if they have two people on.
Right.
But with that being said, it's going to be a tough task for Quince Orchard. Even though Damascus lost a lot to graduation, they just reloaded with Juergens and Jordan Funk, who are outstanding linemen in their own right. And players like Hodges and Mike Joseph from QO, they're going to be battling the trenches all night. It's going to be a bloodbath. If you're a fan of line play, this is the game to watch. Just watch the line. You really don't necessarily have to watch any other aspect of the game. You can get a good idea of how the game's going by how each individual line, offense and defense, is doing. It's going to be a tough game either way. But as it stands right now, the key to victory is how you contain Marcus Vincent. Now, if you flip the sides of the ball, it pretty much remains the same. Vincent is going to be roaming in the defensive backfield. So if you're thinking about throwing the ball, you have to take into account to where he is. With that being said, Doc Bonner, I expect big things from him this year, and it all starts on Friday night. He can prove us profits by coming out and having a game like I personally think he's capable of having, a game like he had toward the end of the season versus Paint Branch, a game like he had in the playoff loss to Northwest, where he literally took over the game by himself.
Right.
And in the Paint Branch game, won it it off for a 75-yard run. He is the quintessential dual threat quarterback, and that makes it extremely difficult for opposing defenses. You can drop everybody back and play the pass, and he'll burn you with the run, or you can stack the box, and he has no problem sitting in the pocket and taking a hit to complete a pass. He's an extremely tough player. Extremely tough, especially given his size. He's not a small player by any stretch of the imagination, but he's not a huge player either. But he is extremely tough. And that's kind of what you want out of your quarterback position. You want somebody you want somebody that can take a hit and pop right back up and say, give me some more. What else you got? On the offense, QO, they're just going to have to establish a run, which is Quince Orchard's bread and butter, and hopefully that'll open up the passing game for them, where they can take advantage of the off-season work Doc Bauer has been putting in. With all that being said, this game can't be any closer in my mind. It's basically going to come down to penalties and turnovers.
Right.
Both teams are extremely well coached. Both teams protect the ball pretty well, so it may come down to one fumble or one interception, one pass interference, one holding that tilts the balance of the game one way or another.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, this is not only the game of the week in Montgomery County. This is probably the game of the week in the DMV, if not the state. So,
right.
If you plan on getting to Gaithersburg off of Route 28, get there early. It's a 6:30 kickoff.
Right.
I'm telling you, don't sleep. Like if you plan on arriving at 6:30, you might as well just go up to the hill behind the fence and watch it there, because you probably will not be able to get in. It's going to be a full capacity crowd, standing room only. It's Friday Night Lights, baby. Let's get it.
Okay, so with all that being said, who you're picking?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Man. I'm going Quince Orchard, shocker. 28-27.
Okay.
Damascus is going to miss an extra point.
Oh, that's brutal, man. What? Come on, man. That's brutal. This is like an evil way to lose, man. Man, damn. Okay. Listen. Okay, I think this game is very, very close. So since you're going with Quince Orchard, I'll go with Damascus. I'll be the pariah when I walk into the building. People will boo me. You know, I get dirty looks. I go with Damascus. You were gonna get it when you get there. Hey, look, it is what it is. I'll go with Damascus. Look, this game's real close, man. This game's real even. I think that the difference is going to be special players in big time games usually come up big, and I think that Marcus Vincent is one of those guys. He's a second ranked player overall in this county, and I think that he's gonna make a mark on this game and mark for the rest of the season, kind of the way that his counterpart, his good buddy Jake Funk, did last year. And I think that what he's gonna do is kind of on both sides of the ball impose his will on whatever he's doing, and I got this game 24-21 Damascus. I think that they're gonna I actually think that they're gonna get to 24 earlier in the game, probably like around early in the fourth quarter. They can get to 24. I think that Quince Orchard is going to score another time to make it 21-24. I think Quince Orchard is going to have a game-winning drive that's going to stall. I think it's going to happen. So,
I hope you bring some money on Friday night, because you're going to have to pay to get in the game. You're going to walk up to the gate and they're like, the booth's over there, sir.
Hey, look, man. I could go and take care of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could bet. Listen. I've been good to Quince Orchard, since this podcast thing been going on, and this might be, one. Last year, I picked Quince to win the playoff game. If you don't remember, right?
I do.
Okay. And what happened then? Right?
They lost.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is this: I've been good to y'all, right? So I believe that you picked Quince Orchard, which you should. I think just out of respect of the great Damascus program, I think that one of the hosts of the Mocha, the main podcast in Montgomery County, I think out of respect, I think it's only good, that I picked the other side. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's not nothing against Quince Orchard. Love Quince Orchard. I love, the Red Army and everything like that. It's just, we got to balance things out here, Damon. Can't be all one-sided. You already know that there's conspiracy theories out there that think that we're all Quince Orchard and everything like that. So I'm just trying to give the other side of the ledger. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, just try and balance it out. That's all.
All right, man. I hope you don't plan on going to Quincy's after the game.
Listen, hey man, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If it goes well, look. I got a lot of love with Quince Orchard. Like, I think that, the people over there love me. I love Quince Orchard to death. It's just that, for this purpose, we're going to go with Damascus. I'm going to go with Damascus right now. I'll be the pariah. It's fine. I can take him a big boy. Okay? So that's what it is. That's what it is. And going along those lines with picking games, we're gonna do our Mocha Pick'em. We're going to run through the slate right here, and we're going to start off with Blair Northwood. Damon, who you got?
Blair, 42-7.
I'm going to go with Blair as well. I'm going to go with Blair 52-3. Magruder, Wheaton.
Magruder, 28. Wheaton, 14.
I'm going to go with Magruder as well. I'm going to go with Magruder 14, Wheaton 7. Sherwood at BCC. This game is going to be at Walter Johnson's field. Who you got here, Damon?
Sherwood 42-17.
I got Sherwood 49, BCC 10. Travis Levy, 10. Travis Levy is going to go for 250 around there, 3 touchdowns. That's going to be in the first half, and he's going to get out. That's what that's going to be. We got Blake and Springbrook.
That's going to be a good game.
This is going to be a good game. I listen. And I've gotten a lot of emails about this one too. About Blake having so many players on the top 25, and Blake having a lot of players on the top 10 list for the positions. But just go look at the tapes. I mean, but anyways, like I was saying,
Blake has legit talent.
Yeah, Blake. Blake has legit talent. Springbrook has legit talent. It's a rivalry game. Who you got in this game, Damon?
Man, this is a tough one. Ooh. I'm going with Springbrook in a nail biter, 24-21.
I got Springbrook as well. I'm going with Springbrook 35-28. Churchill and Clarksburg at Clarksburg. Who you got in this one, Damon?
Going with the Coyotes, son. Clarksburg. This will be a low-scoring game. Mm-hmm. I got Clarksburg 17-8. I do believe Brian Walker is going to have 2 touchdowns, and one of the other players will pick up 2 touchdowns and a field goal for Clarksburg, and the 2 touchdowns will come either by the feet or the arm of Brian Walker.
Okay. And I got Clarksburg as well. I got Clarksburg 28-0. I think that they're going to shut them down. Yeah, I think they're going to shut them down. Yeah, 28-0. Walter Johnson is heading over to Rockville. What do you got in this game? This one, name?
Rockville all day, son.
Okay.
24-14.
Yeah, I got Rockville as well. I think Michael Young is gonna have a really good game. I got Rockville 21. I got Walter Johnson 7. RM and is heading over to Einstein. Last year, this time we thought that this was going to be a matchup between two up and coming teams that was going to make some noise last year. It ended up only being one of these teams ended up making noise last year, and that was the Rockets. What do you see in this game, Damon? Do you think that Einstein is going to come back and exact some revenge and maybe flip the script on RM, or do you think that RM is going to continue what they were doing last year?
I'm going with the Rockets in this. The cat's out of the bag. They had that taste of continuous victory, and I don't see it stopping this Friday. I got Rich Montgomery getting the win, 28-17, 2 touchdowns apiece for Ty Hebron and Spencer Silverstein.
Yeah, I got Rich Montgomery as well. I think that it's going to be a little bit of a high-scoring game. Actually, I think that Christian Greaves by himself is going to, do some things in this game. He's an incredible talent. I don't think that a lot of people are going to be able to guard him this year. So I got Christian Greaves scoring like 2 or 3 touchdowns. So I think that this game is going to be a little bit of a shootout, more of a shootout. I think it's going to be one of the more surprising things that's going to happen this week. But in the end, I get Richard Montgomery winning 35-33, and in a kind of like a shootout game. We got Walt Whitman versus Paint Branch, going to Paint Branch. What do you see in this game? There's a little bit of a some intrigue to this one with what Matt Clayton can do, but not much because obviously what Paint Branch has been able to do and Paint Branch being at home. But how do you see this game, Damon?
I got the Panthers getting the victory, 35-21. I think my boy Matt Clayton is going to put up 3 scores, but in the end, Paint Branch is just going to be too much for him. J.D. Guerrero's going to start the 2016 season with a bang. I expect him to have at minimum 2 touchdowns.
Okay. I actually had Paint Branch winning 56-14. I think that Paint Branch is going to explode on Walt Whitman. I think that it's going to be a passing fest. I think what we haven't really talked about is having a guy like J.D. Guerrero at quarterback. The threat of him running as well as passing, I just think that it's just going to be too much. I think that Coach Nee is going to want to send a statement to the rest of the county that Paint Branch is just just on the up and up, and I think that they're going to put the foot to the metal. I think that they're going to win 56-14. We got Wooten going to Kennedy. Obviously, Wooten is looking to put the county on notice. How do you see this game, Damon?
I got Wooten getting the victory, 32-7.
Yeah, it's very similar, 31-3. I think Wooten is gonna come out here with a very solid victory. Not too much of a blowout, but I think that we're all gonna know that Wooten's the far better team. Gaithersburg going to Northwest. Last year, this game was a little bit closer than we thought it was going to be. Gaithersburg is a real scrappy team. Northwest, obviously, established program, doing what they're doing. How do you see this one game, Damon?
Yeah, I honestly think this is going to be another close game, but Northwest will pull out the victory. I got this 38-28 Northwest. I think the transfer from Urbana that Gaithersburg has at the quarterback position is going to keep them in the game in the first half, but once the second half starts, Northwest is going to pull away. I expect Khalil Owens to have at least 2 touchdowns. Alfonso Foray, also expect him to have a couple of touchdowns. So, yeah, in the end, Northwest will get it done.
Absolutely. I got Northwest too. I got Northwest 44, and I got Gaithersburg 24. And I think that at the end, Northwest is going to get it done, like you said. Seneca Valley going to Poolesville. How do you see this one, Damon? Obviously, Zach Robinson is going to be making his regular season re-debut. You know, he's going to be reintroducing himself to Montgomery County. Obviously, Felix Platt, Golson, you can go on and on. Seneca Valley's low this year. How do you see this game, Damon?
I said this a couple of weeks ago. On paper, this should be Seneca's year. And I expect them to start the season off in that mindset. I have the Screaming Eagles winning big, 42-14. Adrian Platt, minimum 3 touchdowns.
Okay. Yeah, and I have the Screaming Eagles too, winning big. I have them winning 52-13, and like you said, I got Adrian Fields Platt with 100 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving, and I got him returning a punt. So, get to work, Adrian. You got to make me look good, man. Next game and last game that we're going to talk about is Frederick from Frederick County, obviously. Heading over to one of our favorite teams, Watkins Mill. Watkins Mill has gotten the better of them the last few years that they played. How do you see this game, Damon, turning out?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Watkins Mill all day.
Yeah.
It's a new era in Germantown.
Yeah.
I got Watkins Mill getting the victory. And I think this is going to be a statement game for them to put all of MoCo 3A on notice that they're a legit contender. I have Watkins Mill winning 35-14.
35-14. That's low. It's real low.
Yeah, it's going to be 35-0 at the half. They're going to pull the starters, and Frederick will squeak out a touchdown.
No. This is Frederick County. We don't have no mercy. No. I'm going with 52. I got 52-3. I give Frederick County 3 points. There you go. Leave me alone. That's it.
I just come to let y'all know, put some respect on my name.
Put some respect.
Put some respect.
Put some respect.
Put some respect when you mention my name.
A lot of people like this segment. Put some respect on his name. Which player in the county week 1 should we talk about? I think I already know where you're going to be going with this. That we need to put some respect on his name. Somebody that a lot of people are not talking about right now. That needs to be talked about amongst some of the greats out there.
Well, I already mentioned him at the top of the show. He's the 5'7", 160 pounds stick of dynamite, Titus Johnson, senior running back for the Quince Cougars. May think I'm blowing some steam. I'm trying to pump up somebody on my squad.
Right.
But just look at the tape.
Right.
I dare you to look at the tape and come away and say, nah, he's not all that.
Right.
Trust
Right.
me. Titus Johnson will be a name you hear of several times this season.
Right.
He will be a key component in the Quince Orchard Cougars' success in 2016.
Right.
If he would start on 90% of the teams at running back in the county. There's only a few teams where he would not be the featured attraction, and even if he was on some of the other teams that have higher ranked players, according to us, he would still get significant playing time. The kid is a baller. This is his senior season. He's ready to shine. I guarantee you, Titus Johnson will be an all-MoCo candidate at the end of the year. Okay.
That's a good name right there. I'm gonna go with a kid from Blake, and this is a kid that I think a lot of people are kind of aware of, but not fully. Kenny Gardner III. He's a kid that plays safety, a bit of wide receiver. He's a great athlete. I think that a lot of people can do when we look at what Blake is trying to do when spreading out the field and everything like that. I think Kenny Gardner is a guy that gets kind of lost behind like some of the bigger names that are on Blake right now, but he's definitely a high quality player, and I think that he definitely is going to gain some respect on his name this season. Everybody out there, thank you for joining the show. Thank you for listening. Get out to the games, man. Support these kids. The bigger the atmosphere, the better the kids play. So get out there, support, and have some fun on Friday night. Obviously, I'm gonna be at the Damascus Quince Orchard game. Damon's gonna be at the Damascus Quince Orchard game. So if you have anything to say, pop up and just give us a holler, man. We're gonna be on the sidelines. Obviously we think it's gonna be a great game and everything like that. Damon, you got anything to say before we get out of here?
No, that's about it. If you have any questions or comments, you can hit me up on the message board, send me a private message, or you can get at me on Twitter at Nomad Anderson. Otherwise, like you mentioned, I'll be at the Cougar Dome on Friday night. I'll be there bright and early. Like, seriously, I'm going to be there, like, really early. And I recommend anybody that plans on going, I can't stress it enough, get there early. It's going to be packed. I can't stress it anymore. Like, if you can get off work early, do so. If you're still in school, don't make any plans for the evening. Just make your way to the Cougar Dome. It's a great atmosphere. It's going to be one heck of a game. I can guarantee you that.
Right.
I may not be able to guarantee many other things, but I guarantee you will not see a better atmosphere than at the Cougar Dome. That's about it.
Excellent. Well, we see you guys out at the games, and talk to you guys next week.